Welcome, everyone. I'm Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today, I will be reviewing Cibola Burn, book number 4 in James S.A. Corey's major, huge, epic fantasy, science fiction, space opera epic series, The Expanse. So let's get to it. Book number 4 of The Expanse. If you followed my reviews so far, you know that I love this series. In fact, I think this series is going to go down in history as one of the greatest science fiction epics of all time, comparing to Dune, Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, all that great stuff. You know, they made a TV show of The Expanse on the Science Fiction Network where they followed the books pretty closely. So if you want to go watch the books rather than read the If you want to go watch the movies rather than read the books, go ahead and do that. But I suggest reading the books, then watching the TV series, because the TV series follows the books pretty closely. And, the Science Fiction Channel's not doing it anymore. It's Amazon.com is continuing on with the TV series. Great stuff. Great. Love it. Cibola Burn, book number 4. Let's talk about that. James S.A. Corey. It's a pseudonym for two writers named Daniel Abraham and Ty Frank. Normally, I don't like collaborations. I don't like collaborative efforts. When it comes to novels, I like one writer, one idea, one novel. His vision, his alone. Her vision, hers alone. But we got Abraham and Frank collaborating on this thing, and they do a great job. I make an exception with these guys. They're fantastic. This is a fantastic series. This is a well-written series. I love it. This is just super stuff. Super. Cibola Burn, number 4. I forgot which book I was reviewing in the series. I just read it. It's number 4. So let's start out. We left off in book number 3 with... Well, in book number 1 and 2, we're just kind of confined to our own solar system. We've got Earth and Mars, the outer planets, a lot of political intrigue with the asteroid belt and just everything. But then we get alien mysteries, like maybe we're not alone in the universe. Maybe our solar system isn't the only one. And then by the end of book 3, we get, and this is a spoilery stuff for the previous 3 books. So if you haven't read those, stop. Go read those before you continue. But I won't spoil anything in book 4 or beyond, but I'm spoiling some stuff in the previous 3 books. We find out at the end of book 3 that there's a alien stargate that opens up out beyond the outer rim of our solar system, and everybody rushes towards it. The people that govern Mars, the people that govern Earth, the people that govern the outer planets, everybody rushes towards the stargate because we don't know whether something bad's going to come out of it at us and kill us, or whether we're supposed to go into the stargate and see where we go. It's all a mystery. Well, at the end of book number 3, a bunch of people against the will of the UN, of the United Nations, and against the will of the Martian government, against the will of everybody, people just start, hell with it, let's just go. So they start flooding through the stargate. And there's thousands of worlds out there. Thousands of uncolonized worlds that are discovered, and people are just starting to colonize them. And it pisses off the governments because, of course, the governments are like, hey, whatever's out there, we need to exploit it for our riches, right? We need to send scientific surveys out there. We need to make sure that we can exploit every planet to our advantage. So we got to put a stop to this. Everybody's just rushing out there. We don't know what they're rushing out there into. Is it dangerous? Are we all going to die? What kind of things are they going to bring back to our solar system that are bad? All of that stuff. There's good reasoning and bad reasoning for them for them to want to stop people from just going through the Stargate. So in come our heroes, the crew of the Risonante, the Rocky, the crew of the spaceship Risonante. In come our heroes, Holden, Naomi, Amos, and Alex, to save the day. And they are sent through the Stargate because there's areas out there that have been discovered, and people, it's like the great Western frontier. It's like this frontier of outer space. We finally expanded beyond our solar system, and we're discovering new lands, just like the pioneers of old when they were coming across the plains and discovering the Rocky Mountains and everything out here in the West was a frontier. Now we've got the frontier is out in outer space. And just like the Old West frontier, people didn't know what to do. It was a brutal, brutal place. People were killing each other. There was the law. There was no laws. There was nothing really set up as far as any. I mean, it's just like people are colonizing planets that have never seen human life before. And as you can imagine, it's a mess. It's a mess. Just like when people came across the plains and colonized the Western United States, it was a bloody mess. Bloody mess. Gunfights, laser blaster fights, lightsaber fights. You remember the Old West, right? That's the way it was in The Expanse. Things go bad. The crew of our ship is sent out to solve everyone's problems, right? Our heroes of the heroes of the spaceship heroes out to solve every problem. Well, that's the basic thrust of the plot. That's all I'm going to get into. I don't want to get into any more than that. So you can discover how adventurous it is on your own and discover what happens. But bad things happen, you know. I'm filming this video in the middle of the coronavirus lockdown. And I'm telling you, there are, if we do discover, you know, if what's in the Expanse series is true, if we discover planets out there somewhere, Lord knows what kind of viruses they might have. You know what I mean? They might just kill us dead. And then we bring them back into our solar system and we're wiped out. I mean, this book is really sort of a parallel to our own kind of, you know, humanity's and colonization's own sort of trek across the American West and introducing diseases to the indigenous people that were already here. Parallels galore, folks, parallels galore. Now, what did I actually think of this novel? That's all I'm going to get into as far as the novel goes, just that basic plot. You guys can discover the rest of it on your own because I left a lot of stuff out that I don't want to ruin for you guys. So my basic thing of this is, you know, we've spent the first 3 books just within our own solar system. Now we've discovered through the Stargate all these planets, and you'd think that this is where the stories really get gripping. But I gotta be honest with you. I liked the first 3 books a lot more than this Cibola Burn. I really did. Cibola Burn, even though we expanded out into the universe a little bit more and we got to see things, I was just not quite as enthralled with what I was reading as I was in the first 3 books. And maybe it was because it was a little jarring that we're no longer dealing with our own planets, but we're out there dealing with other planets and stuff. I mean, I have no problem with that. I just, for some reason, a lot of it was falling a little bit flat for me in comparison to some of the adventures that had come previously in the series. So my overall rating for this is going to dip down a little bit from the other books. And by no means is this say that I don't like the series, because I do. This is just the weak link in the series for me, because book number 5, book number 4, Cibola Burn, I am going to give it about I wanted to give it about a 6.5, but I think I'll bump it up to 7, just to be fair and to kind of, because it's still a good book. I still liked it, you know. That's a little slightly better than average rating for me anyway. 7, you know, out of 10, you know, 1 out of 10, you know. 7 out of 10 ain't bad. I could have went 1 out of 10, but I didn't, because it's a really good book and a really good series. Just not as good as the other ones that I'd read, nor the ones that I've read this series. I've read each of these books as they've come out once. I'm rereading them for my book reviews. And I've also watched the first 2.5 seasons of the TV show. So, it's just a series I love. Despite my 7 out of 10 rating out here, thinking it kind of a little bit of average on this book number 4, but whatever, you know, all in all, like I said, like I opened up with, one of the classic science fiction series of all time. And it's going to go down in history as one of those, and people will be reading it for a long time. So, go out and get The Expanse. Great books, great books. This one is book number 4, Cibola Burn. I love the covers. Can't complain about the design of those. Look at that. That's a beautiful cover right there. James S. A. Corey, Cibola Burn.